Hello, my name is Max,
Hey, I'm Twiggy.
and welcome to Tech A.
So this is our first podcast, and we are the nonprofit known as Checkpoint Saved. You may ask, what is Checkpoint Saved? We are a organization that helps people figure out technology in their lives. We focus on older people, younger people, people in between. And I just saw a need for people who didn't understand the technology that they were buying, so I wanted to teach them how to use it. My role at Checkpoint Saved, I'm the president and founder. It's been my brainchild for quite some time. We did incorporate in 2019, got a couple of people on my board together, and we finally went tax exempt in 2022. Sitting next to me here is Max. He is the dad of our group, also known as the director of art and design.
Yeah, basically I got involved last year in a need and a search for some sort of technological belonging. I started a couple businesses doing graphic design, motion design, animation, 3D modeling, game design, and I just wanted something more. And Brad, who I met at working at Best Buy of all places, and I just remembered that he started a nonprofit when I was actually in school. He started that, and so I remembered that he started that program, and I asked to meet up and see if he could be any help of my endeavors and any of my ambitions can be fulfilled. And turns out that they definitely are going to be something in the works, the podcast being one of them. So that's kind of like how I met Brad. It's how I got started with Checkpoint Saved. I became the dad, even though I'm the second youngest in the group. And happy to be here, and hope that I can help you all with technological needs, desires, willing to create any of that.
Excellent. So, Checkpoint Saved, it's definitely a needed organization. We're such a small organization, but people are like, oh, that's such a cool idea. Let us know when it gets running. Well, we're up and running. So, I bet you're wondering, why technology? Why have I always been in technology? I've liked technology probably as early as I could walk.
Right.
I started playing around with Intellivision. I guess not that early in life, probably like 5, 6. Start playing video games in '94. My parents got their first personal computer, and that just opened a whole can of worms that I wanted to play around with stuff. I wanted to upgrade the computer. Of course, I wanted to do gaming and all that. Fast forward a little bit of time, 1999, got my first job when I was 14 at McDonald's, and my dad was at the point where it was like, stop messing with my computer, you got a job, buy your own. And I was like, okay. So I went to Best Buy, grabbed something, and they were a little high pressure back then, so I didn't get exactly what I wanted. I took it back because I got the blue screen of death, and ever since then I started tinkering around with computers, seeing what I could do with them. And then I decided a couple years later, talked to a couple of friends, and I built my first PC. Very daunting task, but if you really think about it, it's a really expensive jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, I totally agree. My first introduction to technology, I don't think my parents really intended it to become a consuming entity in my life, but I remember 1996, I was living in Florida at the time, and little Max came downstairs and saw a perfectly wrapped blue box and opened it up, and it was a Nintendo 64. It's my first game console. I remember going to my older brother's friend's house with him, and they were playing Doom on a really old IBM computer. We had a Gateway 2000. I think my parents still have
the old cow
that.
box.
Yeah, the cow box. Yeah. So tinkering around with technology, whether it be new toys or trying to figure out why my game cartridges weren't working, or just dabbling in even old technology like 8-track players, or trying to figure out what a Walkman was and how does a CD work and what is programming. At the time, what was it? Flash was still a means of animation.
Yeah, definitely.
So Newgrounds became, when I was in middle school, Newgrounds was still, as actually was just becoming popular. And it still is in the kind of fringe groups, but Flash is not even supported anymore for animation.
Right. Yeah.
And so, sad to see a building block of animation gone. But I just was consumed with video gaming, and so consumed that I wanted to make them my own. And I joined the Marine Corps, of all things, because I didn't have my life figured out. I was terrible at school. And then as I was in my Afghanistan deployment, one of my sergeants gave me a laptop, and it had Visual Studios, and he taught me C++. And then that kind of just ingrained into my mind that this is what I'm going to go to school for. I'm going to learn the art side of things in game development because that's what you see. But the programming side of things, of how to actually make a game work, that's a daunting task even for me. But
yeah, I definitely have respect for programmers, and I joke around with some of my friends that programmers are similar to engineers in cars and mechanics. That programmers I think they make the programming so difficult that people who do computer repair and work on computers just get confused and just want to cuss them out.
In school, as doing 3D modeling, I thought that was like confusing at first. Like being a teenager, I'm looking at Master Chief walking around. I was like, well, how do they do that? Like, this is a digital character. How do they get? And so like I despised health class because it was always a push for, go into like anatomy classes and go into the sciences. And I was a musician as a kid. I didn't care about any of that. And then I get to college and I'm doing 3D animation and character rigging and all that. And I was like, wow, I actually need to know like how bones and joints and muscles work, because the animation is not going to look appropriate. So of course I had to take anatomy classes when I was older, and
yeah.
it's interesting how it makes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I failed geometry 3 times, and that's all I deal with is geometry.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous how the perspective changes as you get older.
Yeah, I was never big into math and sciences for like the formulas, because people are questioning, why'd you go? Well, I went to school for youth ministry, so I used to be a licensed youth pastor. I'm not doing it anymore. This was originally a ministry. We did video games and Bible study. But the reason I wanted to do the nonprofit is so that we're not basically closing ourselves off to anybody. And my mission, I guess our mission, is to help people. That's what I like doing. That's why I've been in sales my entire life, even though I don't enjoy it, but I enjoy helping people. So yeah, just technology is very cool. And one reason I didn't go into programming, because I hated the math and sciences. I was good with English, I was good with terminology and stuff like that, but formulas just always confused me. So I would rather be the one with the critical thinking skills, thinking on my feet, outsmarting people at help desk in figuring out issues, being an advanced Googler, just constantly having my mind going.
More or less, you're a life programmer. You're not into actually like trying to figure out where all the semicolons go, but more or less you have the brain power for a programmer. You just don't like actually doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people have asked me personally as like, why are you starting a podcast? Because like people think, well, I can't generalize people, but the people are in my center of the world view podcasts as like a saturated environment. Everybody's starting podcasts. So why is our podcast different? Or why would we even start a podcast?
Well, when Max gave me the idea of starting a podcast, I was like, that's kind of going back to what I tell everybody. I'm a photographer because I like being behind the camera. I do mixing behind a soundboard because I like being behind the soundboard instead of in front of a microphone, instead of in front of people. So it was kind of a daunting task, but it kind of goes back to that I want to help people. The point of this podcast is helping people figure out technology. We want to focus on current cybersecurity scams in general. We're also going to feature how easy it is to create content with even the most basic means, with your cell phone, with just basic microphones, and it's just helping people find a way to make a living using technology.
Right, and to go off of that is we're gonna start long form content with our podcasts. We're gonna start a YouTube channel. Some members of our board believe that YouTube is a saturated environment and people don't go to it. I don't necessarily hold that belief, so we're gonna start one, and we're gonna start a series called Live It How We Tell It. And so we don't have a camera right now because of technical difficulties, but our setup right now, if you could just close your eyes and imagine while you're driving or you're in your office or anything like that, but we have a computer, we have our monitor, and we have a Blue Yeti USB microphone that you can get at Walmart for maybe $70.
Yeah, around there.
And we have a Y splitter for $1.99 on Amazon, and we have earbuds for audio monitoring. That's our setup. We're sitting in a small little office. We don't have a massive building or anything, and so the point of the podcast is to show, like, if we can do it with consumer grade goods, so can you. And so we're gonna take it a little bit further, and we're gonna do different camera setups using different means. Like, we're gonna take a Sony Handycam or a Canon Handycam, something you could buy at Walmart for relatively inexpensive, show you how you can actually produce a quality podcast or even short movies or anything like that with relatively no budget at all. And so that's my goal, and I have a background in VFX and GFX, so I will be in the back end showing you all tutorials on just basic VFX that you can do at home. You don't need a big massive building or a studio. You don't need a multi-million-dollar budget.
It would be nice, but you don't need it.
You know, it makes things look really, really easy, but you certainly don't need it. Will it be the quality of like a Marvel's Avengers? Maybe. Go look up Corridor Digital. They started just like how we did it, and they are doing crazy things and just simple things, you know. And so that's the point of why we started the podcast, is to just get the information out there. I always believe that if you hold the information, or if you know the information and you hold on to it, it's the biggest crime you could commit to humanity. And so if I have knowledge, I'm willing to share it, and I'm basically willing to do it for free. So that's my spiel.
Yeah, like I said, we want to help people. Eventually we will have live streams where people can call in. I work at Lowe's of all places, and since I used to work at Best Buy, customers still hunt me down and ask me questions, ask me if I'm working on the side, ask me for a business card. Now I was like, yeah, I do side jobs. I can help you with that. But the goal with this podcast and this organization is that I don't want to have to charge people. If they want to further this organization through a donation, go for it.
Right. And so it's entirely, so how you can actually support us, not necessarily financially, but watch and share the podcast, watch and share the content. If you want to financially donate, go ahead. If you want to donate gear, you can do that as well. There's so many ways that you can contribute to the success of a business without actually spending any money. and it's as simple as sharing, talking about it, and following it. We love to see everybody that watches or listens. Currently, it's going to be listening, but once we have the camera figured out, it will be watching as well. Watch, share, contribute, comment. If you like or dislike us, leave it in the comments. I'm always a fan of hate mail as much as love mail. So anything that you guys want. So to wrap all of this up, it's basically, this is just a fingernail of the nonprofit. This is a means for us to get our content out there and to be able to share our knowledge. And next episode is actually going to be about scams.
Also, check out our website. We just launched this beautiful website.
Yeah, that's right.
We're found at checkpointsaved.tech.
Yes.
So we're not .com, we're not .org, we're actually .tech. So go ahead and check us out.
Yeah, it's brand new. So as you guys are following this podcast, the website will be constantly changing, constantly being updated. As we move along in this adventure, there's never going to be a time where you check the website and it's going to be the same for more than a couple of days. There's always going to be new stuff added until we actually don't have anything else to add anymore. But for right now, it's going to be ever changing.
Sounds good. Sounds like Max is keeping me on my game here. That we got to keep updating.
Yeah, we need to keep updating. We need to take lots of pictures. With the start of this podcast, we're even going to start our own content because we gotta keep our chops pretty sharp. We gotta keep our blades sharp. If we're going to talk about technology, we need to be involved with technology all at the same time. So while you guys are learning, we're going to be learning, and we're going to share what we know with you. And if you guys know something, don't be that guy. If you know something, say something, right?
Right.
And so we'll see you in the next episode. Next episode's going to be about scams. So we'll see you there.